harder the conflict, the greater the triumph.
A fiercest serpent may be overcome by a swarm of ants.
Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way. Age wrinkles the body, quitting wrinkles the soul.
Battle buddies.
Battle buddies.
Rolling baddies, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts. Rolling them blunts and smoking them.
Today was one of the first days in a long time where, as I was letting the fear of life propel me to do the task I didn't want to do, where I thought, I would rather not have ADHD.
Oh, you mean every day?
Well, normally I'm cool with it. Like, yeah, it's not that bad. It's kind of fun. Like, I can focus on things longer than other people sometimes.
Ooh, you know what? That brings up a really good question that I have.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to adjust my microphone here. Does your mind wander during sex as like an ADHD person?
No, I am focused.
Because my wife has ADHD. Or I know, you ADD, ADHD. Is that
We're
like,
fine. We're fine.
okay, is that like me calling a truck a car?
Do
right?
not give a shit.
Okay. My wife needs a couple reminders to stay in the moment.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's something. It's a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Battle Buddies.
Hi, Mom.
We've made it to part 2 of Battle of New Orleans. If you haven't done so already, please open your phone and rate our show on whatever medium you are listening to it, whether it be iTunes or Spotify. Rate this show.
Grab your friend's phone.
Yeah, do that.
Fucking follow us on your friend's phone.
Please. That would be lovely. Man, I worked my ass off for part 2.
Dude, you've been crushing it.
Yeah, dude. I've been doing a lot of work.
Better than teaching.
So, and this is, yeah, right? Who gives a shit about these students? You guys are my students, the real MVP, as they say. Yeah, part 2 of New Orleans. I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Part 1 was great.
Part 1 was really fun.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, dude, we had a lot of fun. This is probably going to be a 4-parter, depending. 3 or 4-parter, but here we are at part 2, and let's just fucking get into it.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Do you speak any French? Comment ça va?
Yet? That's Russian. How do you say no in French?
No. Non.
It's just no.
Yeah. Sometimes there's like, I think there's like an extra N on it. Like
I gotta
non.
say, I kind of wish I did speak more French.
Dude. Did I tell you my French story when I was taking French?
No.
Fucking terrible. I was at the pinnacle of like my academic success. I had to test in. I had to like go in front of panel. I had to do a panel interview with panel interviewees, all my friends, to become an adjunct professor at Cal State Long Beach, and it was grueling. Like, you had to be fucking on it, and it was awesome. I thrived in it. I loved it. And I knew my shit. I had a lot of fun. And so I got to teach while I was in grad school, and I loved it. But I didn't have a fucking language requirement filled out, so I had to take freshman French, and then go teach freshman English. So I was like, it was a hard switch.
Yeah.
Because it's like, do I know you? Do I teach you later on in the day? Because like they're freshmen and I'm like legitimate freshmen, and I'm like grad student teaching. It was weird. But my problem with French is that you don't pronounce the last half of any fucking word ever. So like reading it, you're like, I get it. This is fucking gorgeous. Like I love the like flow of this. It makes sense to me. And then I hear the professor talk. I'm like, that's not how I read it. Like, you don't read any of this. Every word sounds the exact same.
Yeah. When I took German, I always responded to my professor in Klingon because it was the only more aggressive language I could respond to.
Ooh, that's nice.
I stole that joke from some TV show I used
good.
to watch. Yeah. So, let's recap. All right?
I do need a recap.
Previously on Battle Buddies, previously on the Battle of New Orleans. We last left our heroes successfully defeating the British at Fort Boyer in Mobile and a victory at Fort McHenry in the battle over Baltimore. The British are riding a significant high from their victory over Washington, D.C., and have sailed into Barataria Bay to try and convince the pirate Jean Lafitte to join forces against the Americans. Lafitte has politely declined. Jackson is getting ready for what seems to be a solid prediction that the British are headed toward New Orleans to try and capture a major piece of land while peace negotiations move at a snail's pace across the Atlantic Ocean in Ghent. And that's where we're at.
Is it clear why they wanted John Lafitte to join them so badly? Like, why both sides were kind of fighting for him? Because he's just a dude, right?
Because he controls Bataria Bay.
That one pirate just, like, has so much influence.
Yes.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
That's fucking wild.
They understand, both the British and the Americans understand that the pirates, it's their land, dude.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. What a wild time to be like an early American.
It's gonna get even more crazy with the pirates.
Yes.
This.
Oh, really? There's more pirates?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I got a whole pirate thing. It's a whole thing.
Shorter one patch.
All right, now let's go to Pensacola. So Jackson didn't really have much time to sit there and celebrate his victory in Mobile. He guessed that the British would move 50 miles east of Mobile into Spanish-owned Pensacola.
Beautiful area.
Jackson was right. He knew that the Spanish hated the Americans and would most likely let the British harbor their ships in Pensacola, especially if it meant that New Orleans would not be safe for Louisiana. On November 6th, Jackson and his troops approached Pensacola and hoped to speak to the British in peace. He sent a courier to the governor of Pensacola saying something to the effect of, "Yo, my guy, super stoked to be here. Howdy. Don't really want to fight. Just stopping by to talk peace. Maybe have a drink. Ya dig?" But Jackson received no letter back. He knew this was not going to end in peace and decided to attack the next day on November 7th. The surprise attack rendered Fort Barrancas defenseless, and the fort crumbled with little to no help from the nearby Royal Navy fleet. Jackson's reputation for winning earned him some support in the form of $100,000 from President Monroe, which was a shit ton of money. Yeah.
After he had nothing earlier, right?
Correct.
They sent him they were like, "Hey, go send all your troops, your militia back."
But now he's winning shit. And they're like, "Oh, okay, so
he's winning because he got ghosted and was like, "I don't like that they ghosted me."
He's winning because he's just slowly getting the support from everybody with all the other battles that he's already won. So everyone's like, "Dude, this Jackson guy's really dope. I kind of want to fight for this guy."
Nice.
Yeah. So he got $100,000 from President Monroe, and the Secretary of War had no problems promising more troops since all Jackson was doing was succeeding in his endeavors. This was good news for Jackson, especially since his gut was all fucked up from dysentery, making him poop and barf all the time.
Dude, that's the worst. I had to poop all day today.
Did you?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Dude, folks, being a teacher, you have no idea.
You have no time to poop.
Yeah,
and then the bell rang, and this kid was staying to work on his essay, and I could not be more mad at him for taking his education seriously. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of my class! I have to shit."
Yeah. By the time that school is over, I've multiple times been like, "I don't know if I will make it."
It's close. Yeah. And then I had to coach because I care about the stupid kids. And so, I'm trying to, get that ready. I'm trying to kick this kid out for caring about his education. And, I didn't get to shit until I got home later. It was terrible.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
And I don't have to go right now.
And I don't want to miss a thing. On November 22nd, 1814, Jackson loaded up his crew and headed for Louisiana to help defend North America's most important city, New Orleans.
Is that a Spencer statement? America's most important city?
At the time. At this moment in history, it sure seems like it. Now, 50 large vessels with the Union Jack flying from the sails headed into the Negril Bay, which is near what is known today as Jamaica. On the HMS Tonnant, we have a captain and character of interest known as Alexander Cochrane. He was a British captain known as being overbearing and quite simply a massive dick face.
Love him.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of the HMS Tonnant.
Ooh, that was not a great... Imagine posing for a portrait, spending a lot of money and time, and then that's what you get.
Yeah, this guy's seen better days and it wasn't yesterday.
Jesus. Right? The painter turns it over here's what I got. The guy's what the fuck is this? I look terrible. What's with my neck? You had to put all the folds in my neck. You couldn't just make it a normal looking neck. Look at that. He's got turkey neck. But that painter had to take extra time to paint it. It's not a photo.
Yeah, he is hideous. He is hideous. But yeah, when I'm like looking at all these captains of these different ships, when you go on Britannica and you type in these ships, like, it's so cool to look at the history of all the different battles these ships have been in.
It's crazy how much they see.
You don't think about that.
No.
Like, I had to chop out so much of this shit of all these different, the names of these vessels and their histories is like, we could do an entire show on just one of these ships in this battle. So,
Damn.
I don't know. It was hella cool and nerdy and stuff. So Jackson, on the other hand, hired this Creole man named Edward Livingston, who was invaluable to the American forces due to his ability to translate and his knowledge of the land.
Sorry for making fun of you.
Yeah, dude, now he's kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Jackson made this dude a colonel for all the help he would bring to the effort in defending New Orleans.
Yeah, well, of course he's working hard. He doesn't have looks to fall back on.
It's fucking difficult to like learn about all this shit as somebody who's in the current military, because back in the day, they'd just be like, I like the cut of your jib, you're a colonel.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
this
how
guy's
more
fucking
like
cool.
the last guy that was like that. Like, this guy jumped out of an airplane with an experimental parachute. Colonel right away.
Right, dude, that's just not the same way. Now it's like, well, have you done all these tests? Are you all filled? Like, have you...
Did your wife go to the right balls
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
talk to the right other officer wives?
balls. I'm just imagining her fondling all these different balls. But you mean dances.
I mean, dances.
Every girl deserves to go to a ball.
But like officer balls are a thing.
100%,
Yeah,
of course.
they don't sound fun.
Now, since New Orleans was the 7th largest city in the world at the time, Jackson had a lot of ground to cover and spent sleepless nights studying maps. Sounds kind of relaxing.
It does.
Sounds very Bilbo
I
Bagginsy.
fucking love maps.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, they're really soothing.
They are. They're very relaxing. I could just imagine that in New Orleans somewhere with like some, candles everywhere, drinking a nice beer and reading maps.
Dude, my son, that's 3, we've been reading the Illustrated Hobbit, and
How is that?
it's really good. He really liked Bilbo, and what the best part is that like the book tells you like now's the time to look at the map. 'Cause, when they were going over the map stuff. So then we flip back over and look at the map, and he's starting to figure it out like, this is kind of cool to look at.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of
Are
fun.
there other parts drawn in red?
Yeah.
That's dope.
No, it's
That's
cool.
like in the book. That's like
Yeah.
a huge part of Bilbo.
Yes.
Anyway, back on track. Jackson's first order of business was locating and blockading all routes leading into the city. Jackson's newly appointed colonel, Edward Livingston, was like, I got a guy. Livingston brought his homie Arsène Leclerc Latour, who was an architect and understood geometry like a motherfucker. He was like, angles? Yeah, I got it. Obtuse? 90 degrees? That's my shit. You know what I mean?
Decent joke.
Yeah, that's all I could come up with when as you can see, geometry was not my best subject.
Took it twice.
Same. Did you really?
Yeah.
Me too.
I took it too early. They're like, Kevin, you're in the honors. I'm like, are you sure? And then they're like, just take it one more time just to be safe.
yeah.
Just go with the normal kids.
Jackson was impressed and made this dude the principal engineer of the U.S. Army's 7th Military District.
It really is just like, I like the cut of your jib.
Hey, man.
So here's a promotion.
This dude needs men, bro. The name of this episode is probably going to be like, Jackson needs men.
Not enough dicks on the dance floor.
Not enough dicks on the dance floor. Jackson's main theory was that the British were going to land their troops east of New Orleans coming in from Mobile.
Okay, yeah.
They'd march in an arc or semicircle fashion once they reached the Mississippi River.
Geometry.
Jackson further assumed they would steal some barges and boats and float down to New Orleans, entering by river. This is precisely why Jackson wanted to secure both Pensacola and Mobile, which he did. So Jackson was 2 for 2 in his assumptions with the British movement on how they would approach. If the British were to try and take Fort Boyer using their Royal Navy at Mobile Bay, Jackson would send General Coffee upstream to Baton Rouge to help avoid an assault from the British on the Mississippi River. This will be important in our conclusive portion of the episode.
Okay.
Mr. General Coffee.
I love Baton Rouge.
Have you been there?
That's where we lived. So we lived in Baton Rouge, and then we went to New Orleans all the time.
I just like saying Baton Rouge.
I know, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And like the roads are like Blue Bonnet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like the big road, and it's always being worked on. It's like, you got to go to Blue Bonnet. We'll go down Blue Bonnet, and we'll go to Bulldog for the beers, because you get an extra beer for free.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jackson didn't know which route the British would take, but he certainly knew that there were at least 3 options, and most of these options included rivers, as you can see behind me. Bayou La Forge was another option for the British. However, this possibility was rather unlikely considering the sharp turns and constant changing tides they would endure on their ingress into New Orleans. To the east of the city was another unlikely route for the British, the River Aux Chaines. Only small boats would be able to float down this river, making Jackson skeptical of its likelihood. Another option was the larger body of water south of New Orleans in Barataria Bay. But the British knew these waters were ran by pirates and our boy Lafitte, so Jackson knew this was also an unlikely option.
Interesting. And in ingress, for those that don't remember, that's where your salt water meets with your fresh water.
Nope.
And it becomes an ingress.
Nope, that's all wrong.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Nope.
Really?
I'm like 80% certain, because that's like a thing in when we're crabbing out in Oregon.
Sound like a real
Interesting.
idiot
I
right
thought
now.
an ingress was a direction
There you go.
of movement.
Well, no, I'm not sure.
Damn right you're not
You
sure.
said that it's like an old wooden ship. It was like that was one of those moments.
Is it E?
Aye. East of the city was Jackson's biggest bet, Lake Borgne, and the connected bayous from that lake. As you can see behind me, we got this guy, number 5, Lake Borgne. Now, the British could take this large body of water and use the driest land available in the form of plantation after plantation, leading all the way to New Orleans. Jackson sent out men to the least likely approaches and had men cut down trees in the hopes that they could create makeshift dams to impede the use of boats on these rivers coming into the city. Hella fucking smart. Now, Jackson knew that the Mississippi was wide enough to host Royal Navy ships, so the general set out the next day to check out the place for himself. Jackson was fucking dope. He wasn't the kind of guy that would lead from the rear with the gear. He would go out and actually check shit out.
Dude, I'm getting strong Hal Moore vibes. Like, this dude knows men, and he knows to be the face of his mission.
That's an incredibly huge thing to say about Hal Moore. Comparing him to Andrew Jackson's huge.
Hal Moore is if I had to die
That's the standard.
from a commander, I would be Hal Moore, because he's not hiding, and he's just doing what the best course of action that he can think of is,
and
as fairly as he can.
His men respected him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. Now, Fort St. Philip was about 65 miles downstream, and Jackson was relatively concerned about its capabilities to defend against the Royal Navy. Closer to the city was Fort St. Leon. This fort was built next to a curve in the river, famously called the English Turn in the Mississippi, which has been known to need wind from a specific direction to make that turn. So they put a fort conveniently placed on that part of the river to take advantage of stalling ships from the wind and just blast them.
I love that they put a fort there.
Yeah, it's dope.
I hate that they call it the English Turn, because it's too vague.
Okay, so
Every English thing like that,
I'm really glad that you bring that up, because have you ever played pool and someone says you need to put a little bit more English on it?
no, but I've heard people
What does
say,
that mean?
Exactly, cool. There's a whole part of my history I have no idea what you're talking about.
Put a little more English on it.
Is that where you
what?
execute them? Is that,
free healthcare?
is that what taking the piss out of means? I don't get it.
Banging on the piss is going out and drinking.
But in taking
the piss is,
taking the piss is funny.
yeah, you're just fucking around with somebody.
I also might be wrong on the English. I could not find a
Yeah,
definitive
absolutely.
answer.
Let's go with you're wrong.
Yep.
Usually am.
Yep.
Quick to say I'm sorry. Email us at battlebuddiespod@gmail.com.
Yeah, just to say hi, even if it has nothing to do with ingress. All right. The last point of contention for Jackson was Lake Borgne. Defending this would be rather difficult, but Jackson was up for the challenge and was feeling confident considering the morale of the city in the first weeks of December 1814. Again, Lake Borgne. This one's going to be, this is like a huge point right here that we're going to want to keep our eyes on. Now,
Interesting.
Admiral Cochrane of the Royal British Navy left the seas of Jamaica on December 8th, only to be met with thundering storms and swells in the Gulf of Mexico.
Get fucked.
Once the storms exhausted itself, the British sailed for Lake Borgne in the hopes to march into New Orleans from the mouth of the lake.
This Jackson guy was kind of on it. He's
Yeah.
making some good calls.
Yeah, he's a pretty smart dude.
He's kind of like figured this all out.
This dude's fucking like, it's like a miracle that this dude like realized all this shit.
That he existed.
Kinda.
Right? Like,
And he had dysentery. Like, he should have absolutely died.
dude, when my tummy, this is such an American thing. Because I've been thinking, because listeners, a kid was complaining to Spencer, and Spencer said the other day, is this the part where I show you kids getting bombed in Gaza?
Yeah, so that's a true story. I literally had a kid, so he earned some Chick-fil-A in my classroom, and he was like, it's kind of cold. And I was like, is this the part where you want me to show you pictures of like kids getting bombed in Gaza? Maybe I overstepped. I don't know.
You're fine.
Okay.
Everything's fine. But my point is that I've been thinking about today, like every time, like, because I've had to shit all day, and like I had some wretched farts, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to teach, and I'm like, my life isn't that bad. Like, I have good kids, they all respect me, and I'm good at my job, and nothing bad is happening. But like my tummy.
Let me ask, have you, so recently, like, I had to let one kind of slip out in class, right? It wasn't loud, it wasn't audible, but
Absolutely.
still, like,
We're adults.
it eked out, and I was like, whew, gonna need to open a door. Like, if that gets to any of these students' noses, I will feel bad for them.
I usually do it like in passing period or something, but I was sitting down in one of the desks, like doing something, and I was like, and I could smell it immediately. I was like, oh, that's so much nastier
there
than
kids
I
in
thought.
there?
No, but like, people always come in. My class is never empty for very long, and I'm like, oh shit, the next person that comes in is gonna figure it out. So then like I get up and I kind of like, and kind of do some waving. The classes are so small.
Yeah, especially yours. All
Dude,
right.
Vacaville too. Dude, there's a whole other thing. But on the Vacaville Instagram page, they post all the time in different classrooms. I noticed they never post classrooms that look like mine. They post these big ass classrooms. Like, where are these classrooms at,
Yeah,
man?
dude,
This looks great.
I have yet to find them.
Apparently they're there and they're getting photographed.
Now, as the Royal Navy fleet approached that day, they dropped anchor in the deep waters between Cat and Ship Islands, as you can see here on the map.
Do they know how fucked they are?
The British?
Yeah.
Oh, just wait, bud. They're not going to be they're not as fucked as you think they are.
Oh, okay.
Yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like,
This is the Royal Navy, bro.
this is the Royal Navy.
Royal Navy. They are the
created
world's largest navy.
An island nation is a colonial power that colonized Jamaica.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. This is good. This is
Yeah.
good. This is good for me to remember.
Yep. As the HMS Sophie, your girl Sophie, approached the coast, they saw two American gunboats which
Sophie. I was like,
quickly
my
sailed away. I'm going to show a picture here that kind of shows the difference between the kind of the gunboats that we Americans had versus like what the British were working with, okay? Now, they knew these waters very well, and Cochrane's element of surprise was about to be thwarted.
Nice.
Yeah, that's for you. Jackson would know within the next couple days his worst fears were coming to light. The Royal Navy was indeed going to try and take Lake Borgne, which would be very difficult to defend.
I wonder how many battles the Royal Navy had even lost up until this point. Probably not many.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you, bro.
Like
So,
straight up battles, I don't think they've lost really.
listener, if you're listening to this, go ahead and Google like HMS Sophie 1814, and you'll look at all the battles that HMS Sophie was in, and it's like, oh dang, like you forget that these ships have like crazy history, and being on that ship is a huge deal.
Yeah.
You're
I
like-
can see it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like
You're
Master and Commander. Master and Commander movie is great
I know.
because it's just like, oh, wait, these ships are in the water forever until they literally get outclassed enough to sink.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big fucking deal.
The Akron. Is that the name of the other boat in the movie?
I don't know.
The
but
Akron.
I would love to read those books. Now, Jackson had to put his faith in a U.S. Navy sailor by the name of Daniel Todd Patterson, this dude right behind me. This dude was super young at the age of 28, but had 15 years of experience.
Damn! He's a different 28 than I was.
Dude was a badass, fought against pirates in the Barbary Wars, and became a POW for 18 months, which he turned into a naval academy to train his younger officers how to be competent naval captains while in prison. They were just in prison. He's like, we're just gonna turn this into an academy.
That's the most stoic thing. Just like, it's fine, because, like, the point of life is to try to do better than you did yesterday before you die.
Yeah, he's like, you know what, this is good. This is going to give us more time to learn.
Yeah, we have more time. That's what I'm saying, because I want to be a Catholic priest because I'm stuck in a dorm reading all day.
Yeah. Oh, man, there's so many jokes there that I can't say.
That's all they do, right?
That's all they do. There's no issues there whatsoever.
It's not a problematic thing.
No, Catholic priests don't do anything wrong.
There's not a history there. I do like that they like to read.
You can just read.
I look on the positives. I do. But people, like, bug me. They're like, Mr. Burger, can you grade my thing I turned in late?
And then you want to be like, I'm a Catholic priest. I don't mind.
I'm here to read.
Now, this dude behind me, Patterson, had been begging the Secretary of War to send more ships to New Orleans because he, too, understood the importance of this major port city.
Damn.
Jackson and Patterson sat at headquarters considering their options in regard to protecting an attack from the lakes. Jackson had no choice but to listen to Patterson lecture him on gunboats because Patterson used to be the captain of multiple gunboats. Now, gunboats at this time were about 50 to 60 feet long, 18 feet wide, armed with big-ass bore cannons with a bunch of smaller guns on board. The boat was very top-heavy, but they worked well for the shallow waters of the bays and the water of New Orleans.
Dude, so shallow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 5 U.S. Navy gunboats currently patrol the mouth of Lake Borgne, and this little fleet was armed with 182 soldiers and sailors. The commander of this fleet was Mr. Thomas Jones, and his job was to be Jackson's eyes and ears of the lake and report any Royal Navy movement. Okay, so I think I want the listener to know here, right? Like the fleet that we have here at Lake Borgne is not necessarily there to fight the British. It's there on reconnaissance. Like, you're here to come back and give Jackson, like, hey, the British are coming again. Yeah, this is a legitimate aerial view of what Lake Borgne looks like right now. Obviously, this would have looked different hundreds of years ago. But I kind of just want the listener to see, like, just look at all these little tributary, like, pieces of water. And it's important to know that as the tide goes in and out, all those bodies of water are going to change throughout the day, depending on what time of day that is.
Okay.
That just makes navigating through it in a huge Royal Navy ship a little difficult.
It'd be tricky. And, like, when we say shallow, what do you think? I just Googled to make sure I was right, but I was right. I didn't need to fucking Google it.
Egress.
No, I don't know that one. How deep is the LSU lake where they row on? What's the deep? It's a big-ass lake. You, like, drive around it, but how deep does that lake go?
6 feet.
It is 6 feet.
Nice.
Whoa, that's crazy. The joke's not as funny anymore.
Okay. What were you gonna
way
say?
to fucking kill it. I thought you were gonna say like 100 feet because it's a big ass lake.
Okay, let's do that. It's like 100 feet.
No, idiot! It's only 6 feet.
Whoa,
God, you're fucking dumb.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's like as tall as me.
Yeah, but like big lakes, like you gotta drive around them. Like you row, like rowing practices on them. That's where my brother and his wife, like they used to do rowing practice for LSU on it.
Shout out to married couples.
Shout out to LSU rowing.
Shout out to people.
Everyone.
Shout out to 6 feet deep things.
Shout out to you, listener.
That's all those dead people, bro, in the cemeteries. They're 6 feet deep. Am I right?
Is it? But they're not 6 feet, right?
Probably not.
Because the casket has a certain number of feet or inches, so like they're above 6 feet.
Oh, semantics. That's what we're doing right now. Okay. You know, Patterson was ordered by Jackson to retreat. Patterson was ordered by Jackson to retreat to the small rivers and creeks leading out of Lake Borgne if the British advanced on them and gave them everything they got or be blown to bits by the nasty Brits. I made up that sentence. Isn't that fun?
I like it.
The general
There's a lot
consensus.
of alliteration.
Yeah, it's fun. It seems like a rap. The general consensus was that holding off the mouth of Lake Borgne would be feasible because large Royal Navy ships would not be able to enter due to sheer size. That morning, Jones woke up and went to the top deck of his ship to see a shitload of Royal Navy boats dropping anchor on Lake Borgne. Cochrane looked out at the tall grass from his anchored British vessel, thinking to himself, holy shit, this is going to be really difficult to traverse. So he took the advice from some Spanish sailors who told him that there would be easier access through Bayou Bienvenu, which could be sailed through by large barges. After that short sail, it was a relatively accessible march to New Orleans. Cochrane couldn't ferry his British troops until he took care of these 5 American gunboats chilling in Lake Borgne. So on December 12th, Cochrane ordered one of his officers by the name of Lockyer to dispose of the gunboats by any means possible. Capturing them would be preferred, but gaining access to Lake Borgne was the main objective here. So an American sailor, Lieutenant Jones, was sneakily sailing back and forth while the British were anchoring, counting how many Royal Navy ships there were and reporting back to Patterson what he saw. Again, reconnaissance.
Damn.
Americans are doing reconnaissance right now.
That's good reconnaissance.
And this is actually gonna be a huge reason why, like, Jackson ultimately wins the Battle of New Orleans.
Spoiler. Is this not Britain anymore?
So yeah, check this out. So this is kind of gives you some, like, it gives you a view of what the difference of ships look like. Like, look how tiny.
Look at only 1 flag per ship. Well, that one has 2.
Yeah.
Take notice, trucks.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Not everyone lives in Vacaville like we do.
Okay, Vacaville. If this was a Vacaville boat, it'd be flag there, flag there, flag there, flag there, flag there. But they're not like interesting flags. They're all the same flag.
Yeah,
but like some of them have
true.
like a blue line, and then some have a black line, and then a green line, and then a purple line, and then no rainbow lines.
No, that's true.
That one's always lacking.
Yeah, because people don't. Anyway, on the morning of December 13th, we have arrived to the morning of December 13th at 10 a.m.
There we go.
Shit is about to hit the fan. Lieutenant Jones saw the British fleet, which was half a mile wide, sailing slowly toward the American gunboats on Lake Borgne.
Is that Jackson shit? Because he has dysentery. Fuck you, Jackson.
You stupid bitch. You're fucking sick, you stupid bitch.
It sucks to be you, man. I'm a potty.
Where you going,
great.
Skinny? Get over here, you fat piece of shit. All right. Now, the next step was simple. Follow orders and retreat back to the small creeks and tributaries leading out of Lake Borgne. The larger ships would not be able to make their way through these small bodies of water, so the next part is a bit like those horror movies where you see somebody like jumbling with their keys and you're like, this is so stupid.
Yep.
And then like they drop their keys and and they're like running away from the killer, right?
I love it.
Okay, so as these ships are fucking sailing out and trying to get through these fucking small tributaries, the tide goes down and they sink into the mud. Yeah.
It's not very deep.
Nope. So Jones's fleet had made their way to the small creeks, and they got themselves like stuck in the mud. Right? They had run aground, as they say. So they started throwing everything they could to make themselves lighter. As the British forces arrived, high tide started to set in, and they were able to float away just in time.
When do you think?
Is that fucking amazing?
How long is it before you start looking at like the heavier crew members? Like,
get him out of here, Frank! You eat too much. You're gone,
Johnson. I saw you with that second helping today.
Yeah, bro. Like you would know. Like Jackson would be chilling because it's like he has dysentery. He weighs like 90 pounds.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
But it's 2023, and you're like, you can't like shame him for that, like for being huge. But, like
1814.
It's 1814,
Yeah,
different
dude.
time.
Oh, they were trying to survive, bro. Now, Jones noticed 3 of the British ships turned north toward the gunboat named Seahorse. The Seahorse was near shore.
Lame name.
Again, Google it. You'll see all the history of the Seahorse. It's fucking wild.
I'm sure it's amazing.
I went
It's
down
just
a
lame
rabbit
name.
hole and I was like, I can't add all this.
No.
But I wanted to.
Dragon horse.
The Seahorse was near shore to protect the American supplies getting in the hands of the British. Surprisingly, the Seahorse gunboat was able to hold off 3 ships.
All right.
But this was a moderate victory since they knew the British outnumbered the Americans by a lot.
It's still pretty good.
It is really good. And remember, right now, the goal is to buy time.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're buying time. Because as of right now, to give you some perspective, they're about 9 miles away from New Orleans right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
But things move very slowly in this time period. So
they're
like,
writing letters and shit.
Right. Truly.
Yeah.
We think 9 miles away, it's like, I could run that.
Yeah.
But this is just different. So as Jones weaved their way through the tributaries away from the Lake Borgne, they saw an explosion in the night sky miles away. The seahorse had been sacrificed.
Damn.
As to not get in the hands of the British. They were like, I don't want
Oh,
them to
whoa,
have
they
all
blew
this
their
shit."
own up?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Jones knew the British were gaining on them, and so he made the hard decision to drop anchor in the shallow waters and wait for the British to arrive in the morning. It's fucking difficult,
That's
dude.
metal, man.
It is. They spaced their boats apart to evenly spread across the mile-wide lake, and they just sat there and waited. Cannons were all ready to go in defense, and they knew that this was the entrance into New Orleans for the British.
It's a bummer that they didn't have like Iron Maiden at that time. Like some war pigs or something.
Run to the hills.
Yeah, just like something like really like, let's get pumped up here. Like,
I know. Well, that's
they just had like other stuff like doodly doo doo.
flutes and drums, dude.
Yeah.
We had that conversation.
We
I
did.
think, for Thermopylae.
Oh yeah.
And it worked. I think it. Yeah.
You play with what you got.
It's not the haka. Is that what you call it?
No, it was the
But you remember that?
Yeah,
the Hawaiian dance that they do, the haka.
haka. That's the
Like that shit's crazy. That shit's dope.
yeah. That made the first colonizers turn around.
Did it?
Yeah.
See, that makes sense to me. But like that, you know?
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
marching tunes.
Yeah, that there's no comparison.
No.
Yeah.
No, the haka was specifically to scare the shit out of people.
I would love to do some series on war dances and stuff like that.
Ooh, fun.
War music.
Yeah.
Right?
War music's a thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You and I,
we
when
used to have to march.
Yeah. Well, dude, when you and I did the Vietnam series on Yao Drang, we made a playlist of Vietnam music.
I still listen to that when I run.
It's hella good.
We should share that with everybody because that was really good.
Yeah, go on our Discord.
Our New Year's goal, guys.
So,
I've not been medicated in a long time, and it shows.
no judgment, dude. We're full-time teachers. You all better enjoy the shit out of this. All right, now as you can see behind me, right, you got all these British ships, like right there, headed towards these sunken ships, right? The British took their sweet time with this one. They approached slowly and made easy work of capturing the small American fleet of gunboats. Jones' crew did their best, but inevitably fell to Cochrane's crew. The fight was pretty fucking dope, though, and I had to fucking keep a lot of this out, which was sad,
Damn.
but it was fucking dope. Royal Marines entered the American gunboats from the water, and they had sword fights that broke out and shit.
shit.
And the Americans were worthy-ass fucking opponents, dude. They killed most of the British officers. They were like, that guy's enlisted, that guy's an officer, kill the fucking officer. Smart.
Yeah, it's
Hella
hella
smart.
obvious who's the officer
Yeah,
in
they're
this
like, we're
time
going to kill
period.
the officers.
Yeah.
And then, even though the Americans lost their boats, they went down swinging, dude. The British casualties were higher than the Americans.
Damn.
Even though they were outnumbered 7-1.
Damn.
17 British were killed and 77 wounded versus only 10 Americans killed and 35 wounded.
Not bad.
Like, based on those numbers, the Americans lightweight win, but they didn't.
They didn't.
Jones and his crew were now in the hands of the surgeons on the British side, tending to their wounds. This was the last bit of combat action they'd see in the Battle of New Orleans, as they were now, prisoners of war, essentially. Jones's bravery gave Jackson some help, though. The British were spotted a week before taking Lake Borgne. This gave Jackson ample time to prepare for their attack on the major port city, New Orleans. Now, December 15th, Jackson learned of Jones's defeat and capture at Lake Borgne. So, 2 days later?
Yep.
The British were making their approach, and time was a-ticking. Jackson was eagerly awaiting munitions and troops from both Kentucky and Tennessee and had no clue if they'd arrive on time before the British arrived. So Jackson did the unprecedented and started recruiting free men of color. He also ordered that all people of color be treated the same as white people. Now, naturally, this caused a lot of concern for the stupid bitch-ass racists, but
Love it.
Jackson was like, quote, "Be pleased to keep yourself your opinion without inquiring whether the troops are white, black, or tea," end quote. You can do better than that. White, black, or tea?
What the fuck does that mean?
Who? It's him being. He was.
Is
drunk.
that funny?
He was drunk. Who knows? He has dysentery. He's like,
dysentery.
"The white, black, or tea."
He's literally like shitting like, am I gonna die from this shit? And they're like, sir, some of the guys are a little upset that some of them are black. Like, I don't care if they're white or black or they're tea. I don't care.
What color even is tea? Like brownish? Like what?
Green?
Green.
Green tea?
Oh, because he was sick. He had dysentery. He was sick. So he was like, I'm basically green. Don't judge me because I'm green and sick.
This is like a really bad English classroom. The tea represents how sick he was.
It's stupid. He could have done better.
He could have done better. That's not his best. But it's not his worst. I like the message.
Oh, of course.
The message is clear. Stop fucking bitching to me about this problem.
Yeah. He realized that he needed everybody. So it was like, it was a merit moment, a meritocracy moment where he was like, I don't give a shit what color you are. You're going to help us fight.
Is this like a secret thing where Americans used to really love tea at this time period?
Ugh. I don't know.
I think it might be.
Well, maybe. I mean, it's New Orleans, so maybe there was a lot of tea coming through there because it was a port city. Who knows?
Maybe they just liked tea back then. Gross.
Yeah. Gross.
Judge you. Drink coffee like an adult.
Coffee would have been better. I don't care if you're white, black, or coffee with a little bit of leche.
You put a little leche in your coffee?
No.
I was like, why would you do a gross thing to it?
But saying black, white, or coffee is like saying black, white, or black.
Or more black.
Woo! All right.
We're doing great.
Jackson had the world's most diverse fighting force at his disposal. There were freed slaves, French colonials, Native Americans, pirates, woodsmen, and militiamen.
And loose leaf tea.
And tea. All of these ethnicities and different walks of life got together and marched in a parade through New Orleans to show their solidarity against the British. The optics moved the locals to tears to see all these people marching together.
Whoa.
Yeah. And,
I would cry.
Dude, I'm like, I love this.
I'd be so sick of the racism at this point. Like,
it's like,
I don't get it. I don't get it. I've never gotten it.
Yeah. And, the whole point of this is to show you that it's amazing what humans are capable of when being united against a common enemy.
Yeah. That's the Watchmen plot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at 9 p.m. that night, the streets of New Orleans would go dark with no lampposts hosting a flame to guide the vagrants of the city. Every able-bodied man was expected to fight, and this is it. New Orleans was about to have their battle. As the British were shuttling their troops ashore from Lake Borgne, Jackson was anxiously trying to determine what route they'd take. A black man by the name of McCod came to Jackson and explained the amount of men and ships he saw shuttling troops to Pea Island. Jackson was grateful for this information, for he surmised that the British would most likely take the course of the Plain of Gentility. Right up there. Yep. Jackson dispatched defenders at the Plain of Gentility, the Valère Plantation, the English Turn, and every fort in the vicinity was manned. Jackson still had a couple of problems, though. He didn't have ammunition for all of his men, and he didn't exactly know the land as well as he should in order to defend a force as large as the British.
This is some like Russian shit during World War II.
Bro, this story is wild.
They just like don't have the ammo.
Here's our boy Jean. Enter Jean Lafitte, bro.
That's John Lafitte's portrait.
Mm-hmm.
The painter's like, "Do you want to smile? I'm good." Okay.
Yeah, the dude's seen some shit. The governor of Louisiana fucking hated the pirates and even tried to disband them from Barataria Bay. But Jean Lafitte's letter and warning of the British coming to New Orleans sort of won the pirates over with the so-called law-abiding citizens of Louisiana.
Hell yeah, it did.
Yeah. So legislation typically takes for goddamn ever to pass, as we all know. But Louisiana passed legislation that promised amnesty for all pirates who helped fight the British.
Cool.
Dope.
I love it.
It was a law in Louisiana at one point in time.
They're just like,
can you believe that?
We're going to get over this shit really fast if you help us.
That's so fucking dope that if you live in Louisiana right now, you can look up a law that used to be like, hey, dude, if the pirates help us fight the British, they're good.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so cool to me. I don't know. That would make me a hella proud if I was a Louisianian.
That's fun.
Is that how you say that?
Louisianian? Nope. I don't think that's what they say. They have drive-through daiquiris. I had explained to Spencer that drive-through daiquiris are a real thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, Andrew, and he said that when you drive up there, like, do you guys want a shot? You want a shot?
They put the little cellophane over the shot glass and like a little plastic shot glass thing. You want a shot too? Like, I'll keep my 50 cents for your well vodka.
Kevin is selling Louisiana pretty hard.
I fucking love Louisiana.
Now, Jackson was low on men, and Jean Lafitte provided 1,000 extra troops, as well as munitions and an immense knowledge on the lay of the land.
Damn.
Jackson and Lafitte...
Lafitte had 1,000 men?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely he did. Some historians argue way fucking more, so that's the thing. Jackson and Lafitte saw eye to eye on a lot of things and respected each other. This reminds me of that quote from The Departed where Jack Nicholson says, you know, you can decide to be a felon or a cop, but when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? Again, common theme here. A common enemy can unite a lot of people. And so Lafitte was an officer in the same army as Jackson. Like, you're an officer. Dude, Jackson is being Oprah. You're an officer.
Yeah.
You're an officer. You're an officer.
That's an Oprah move for sure.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile...
Dude, Jackson just pumping out some Weight Watchers.
So, meanwhile, across the Atlantic Ocean in Ghent regarding peace talks, Great Britain was conveniently under the impression that the state of Louisiana was still under Spanish control, which is, I'm just trying to imagine that conversation where, like, fucking John Adams is here, right?
Yeah.
Like, the old president, and he's like, they're like, Louisiana's under Spanish territory. And he's like, I've been telling you for like a week it's not, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not.
It's not.
And like, but I do declare. So
It's hard with John Adams because no one liked him.
Did they not?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. So I say that sometimes to like rile people up because
He looked at me and blinked and said, no.
some people like love John Adams, and so I like to say that to see like, are you like a weird history person? Like Hannah's grandparents like think John Adams is like really crucial, and so I say like little John Adams quips some every once in a while.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was the second president, right?
Yeah.
John Quincy Adams. He did not have slaves.
I don't know if he had slaves or not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like a big deal. Like, he didn't. When it was like very obviously common at that time. He was like, nah.
He fired Hamilton. I know that from the song.
Did he?
Yeah. He called him a Creole bastard.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So basically, in Ghent, they were just pretending that the Americans weren't currently controlling most of Louisiana and were switch tracking to talk about fishing rights off the coast of New England and having equal access to the Mississippi River. All of this was to stall in the hopes that New Orleans was about to fall to the British.
Interesting.
Okay? Like, that's why this was all being stalled.
Fucking politics, man.
Politics, indeed.
You got to be good at it. People just get mad at politics, and then they lose. And then they stay mad at politics. But if you get mad at it and then help win, you don't have to stay mad at it for the rest of your life.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Yeah, don't get mad at politics.
No, get mad and then do something.
Oh, say that. That's a much better way to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't just get mad and go sit on your couch.
Like, I don't like politics. Like, well, you fucking better figure out a way to engage with it.
Yes. Now, as
World
Admiral...
War III is upon us.
Dude.
It's close, man. You've been sending me some headlines and some stories, and they've not done well for my sleep.
It's gonna be good for our podcast.
We're gonna have so much content. It's gonna be crazy.
As Admiral Cochrane of the British forces approached New Orleans, he was feeling rather confident in their ability to take the city, considering how easy it was for them to take Washington, D.C.
Right.
But he started to wonder if he was approaching a meek 1,000 troops, or if it was going to be more of like a solid 20,000 men strong, defending the port town of Louisiana. The plan was to enter via Bayou Bienvenue. The British saw that it was completely unobstructed and saw no American protecting the land passed in the bayou. This was considered a no-brainer. On December 22nd, Cochrane gave the order to Colonel William Thornton, who was a hero to the British because of his efforts to burn down Washington, D.C., even though nobody was there.
Fucking hero.
Yeah, bro. Way to go. You you just burned houses down with nobody in them. 1,600 British troops took off at 10 at night under the cover of darkness. The surprising cover of the British worked against the Americans at Fisherman's Village, which ultimately led to the Americans' quick demise at this location. As the British approached one of the POWs from the Lake Borgne, Major Gabriel Valère decided to escape. He made his escape into the deep vegetation of the swampy landscape. As he found the perfect tree to climb up and hide, his dog found him. His straight up fucking poochy pooch dog found him.
He hid in a tree and then his dog found him.
Yes. And as the British are approaching, he has to climb back down the tree, stab his dog in the neck, and pull his dog up into the tree and hide with his bleeding dead dog.
No, that is nightmare.
Yeah.
John Wick doesn't touch that. No, not even close.
Yeah, isn't that fucking epic, dude? That's just like a small little thing, but it's dope that he escaped. So he was able to escape, and
but at what cost? I love my dog.
It's fucking wild to think about, but this is the shit that goes
I
down.
was just petting my dog before you came here.
I pet my dog every day, dude.
That's not a euphemism.
I know.
My dog.
On December 23rd at 1:30 p.m. in 1814, Jackson was chilling on his stoop. Stoop kid?
He's a stoop kid for life. Is that Jackson?
This is Jackson. He was chilling at 106 Rue Royal, which I tried to look up on Google, and it's not really necessarily a place anymore. I mean, it's a place, but it's not what it used to be.
Dude, this portrait's freaking me out. So he's standing there. Do you think he had that sword out during the portrait? He probably did.
So I do know that this portrait was painted way after the Battle of New Orleans.
Sure, but why did the artist decide to put the giant horse's ass right next to him? He's Jackson's hey, I want to look kind of badass. Can I have my sword out? And the guy's like, fuck yeah, man. And then he's looking, he's like, you know what make this even cooler is if we put a horse there. And Jackson's like, I guess a horse is kind of badass. And the painter just paints the giant ass of the horse right there.
Maybe he's trying to say he's a real horse's ass.
There you go.
And if you see the guy behind him, he's
side-eyeing him.
He is side-eyeing
He's side-eyeing him hard.
This little bitch has dysentery.
That's why you're so skinny.
This dysentery piece of shit.
You're not working out.
So he's chilling at 106 Rue Royale, and some men on horseback approach to give him some new intelligence. The British were 9 miles away. They have officially broke the shores of Louisiana, and our boy Major Valère was captured and then escaped like a badass. Jackson fired the cannons in New Orleans, signaling a call to arms. He would march 6 miles south with 1,600 men to the Rodriguez Canal, where he would meet up with Coffee's brigade. And that's where we will pick up next time on the Battle of New Orleans.
Do you try to escape if you get captured? Or do you try to ride it out?
I say escape.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not trying to chill. I don't think people like me would do well in captivity.
No.
No. Would you?
I feel like I'd be like, all right. Better than that.
I feel like I'm trying to bounce.
Okay.
Especially if it's 1814. It's like, I can just jump over the wall.
But they got rules and shit.
For sure. I guess, yeah, I did sort of yada yada that. He escaped. It's like, whoa.
Was he told go eat your lunch out on the shore like we all do, but be back by 7?
Now be back. Okay. We trust you.
Brunch is only a half an hour this time.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I think I'm trying to bounce.
Okay.
But who knows? That's me sitting here in a nice warm garage with a belly full of food and
It's nice
water.
that you're calling our garage nice and warm.
We got swamp ass.
Okay, I like this.
So that's part 2. Here's the thing.
The British are fucking scary, man. They're just a slow-moving machine.
Yeah, and so I had to bring in Lake Borgne because that provides context about all these brave men. A tiny fleet of 5 gunboats in the American forces that bought time for Jackson to get prepared for what's to come.
Yeah.
It's a huge point. As a matter of fact, some people, I could have technically done an entire thing on the Battle of Lake Borgne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I got to provide context. You know how it is.
I like to imagine that one of the boats, 2 gunboats are like, all right, we're gonna light ourselves on fire, and then the first one does, and then they're like all floating in this like 3 feet wall, like high water, and they're looking at the other one that's not lighting on fire, like, hey, we said we're all gonna light ourselves on fire, and the other one's like, hey, we'll get there eventually. We're fine.
There's booze on here. There's a lot of rum. Yeah, man, pretty exciting stuff. I hope everyone enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it. I loved some of the colorful aspects of this portion of the battle. Just the idea of all the people, the diverse army that Jackson is making with all of the Native Americans.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And French and pirates and
black people.
And black people, absolutely. That's huge.
That's crazy.
That's massive. It's kind of like one of those things where I bet you at the time, like if there was an Olympics, right? America is like looking at Britain and they're like, we're going to win a lot of sports, bro. We got way more diversity than you.
I was thinking, like, did he accidentally just create like generational wealth for black people? Like, that'd be so great if like he, through this conflict with Britain, like accidentally just created access to generational wealth.
That's probably.
I don't know.
Right? That's a good rate.
Did they get freed after? Yeah.
Email us at battlebuddiespod@gmail.com.
How would you even look that up? Like if they got freed after? That's crazy. There's a lot of stuff there.
There's a reality TV show called Southern Charm that takes place in South Carolina. It's a bunch of like white pieces of shit that are related to slave owners. But the point that I'm trying to make here is
it weird.
Hold on.
Get to the point quicker.
I am.
So far, like my interest level is so like reality television, like not for me. Like
so, there's another show called Southern Charm of New Orleans, and it's a black family.
Oh, okay.
And they're rich as fuck.
Right.
And maybe there's some.
Maybe there's something there.
There has to be.
Did they get freed when they worked for him, or do they have to go back to their fucking masters after?
In the reality show?
No.
Oh, in the fucking Battle of New Orleans. They're free.
They're freed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, we'll find out. But I'm pretty. I said earlier, like he took on free black people. Like they are freed.
Oh,
black
they
people.
were freed black people. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And that
interesting.
And I think that's more of a. I think that is more of a like a symptom of not a symptom, but like a side effect of like what New Orleans was.
Yeah.
New Orleans was like the wild, wild west. Like anything kind of goes.
That's cool.
Fucking pirates own an entire bay, right? Yeah. And that's a huge point that Jackson was like, these guys kind of know their shit, these pirates, and they're on our side now. So it's dope.
I like that. I cannot believe John Lafitte that he had a fucking 1,000 guys working for him.
He's got way more than that, but that's how much he's willing to use right now.
That's how much like it's written down.
I think more might be coming into play later.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. I really do hope you guys like enjoy listening to it. I've been working my ass off on this narrative for you guys.
He's got no ass.
Yeah. I never did. Putting in my own narrative and kind of twist into this hopefully palatable story that you guys are listening to. Feel free to let me know if you don't like it. Kevin is working on some pretty fun ancient warfare stuff that we're going to be diving into. Kevin and I are thinking about adding a series where we're going to start tracking like military movements because, I don't know, World War III is upon us.
Dude, it's fucking here. If you're not paying attention right now, don't worry, we got you.
So I used to work in production and analysis for intelligence, but we called ourselves Panda Company, P&A, production.
I love when like really important organizations don't take it so seriously.
Thank you. And so I was thinking, like, that's what we could do. We could do Panda Watch.
Panda Watch. I like
and
that.
it could be us just, like, it's basically World War III watch.
That's fun.
Right?
That's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to us. Again, please share with some human beings if you thought that we were enjoyable. Please rate our show. Please just be involved with us, man.
Talk to us, man.
Talk to us on the interwebs.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. And looking forward to seeing you guys next week. But until next time,
Bonsai!